The Detroit Tigers are undefeated.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? I gotta have a pair of sunglasses around here. I have to. I have like 95 pairs. Shout out to the shades on days. Real ones remember. Wow. Yeah, bang. The Detroit Tigers are undefeated. 3-0 on the young season. I just got back from Easter meal. I don't even know. Like, it wasn't brunch. It wasn't lunch. It surely wasn't dinner, though, either. It was a great time. Hope everyone else had a fantastic weekend as well. And your Detroit Tigers on the field certainly had a fantastic, I can't see, I have to take these off, undefeated, 3-0 for the first time since 2016. And you know what? It's the Chicago White Sox. Yes, you're right. The White Sox aren't very good. They're not going to be very good this year. I'm hoping that Eloy is healthy and Moncada is healthy, right? I hope that both of them can stay on the field. Obviously, if the two of them are injured, that team goes from bad to worse. I completely understand all of that. But ask me if I care, the answer is no. Look, it has been 8 years since this baseball team has won more games than it's lost. I'm not going to apologize or be upset about winning ball games, especially early in the season, right? Even if you don't want the mumbo jumbo of just don't apologize for losses, this team in the AJ Hinch era has notoriously gotten off to horrific starts. All of them. Every single year in Hinch's tenure, the first month and a half of the season has been absolutely brutal. Okay? So I don't care that it's the White Sox and they're not good. The Detroit Tigers are 3-0. There's only, 4 teams that are undefeated left in baseball currently? The Detroit Tigers are one of them, and we're going to celebrate that, all right? So we're not going to go through, similar to last season, if you're a longtime listener to the show, we're not going to break down just each game in a vacuum. We're going to kind of talk about the weekend as a whole. We're going to break this up into things that went right over the weekend, right? Highlights type of stuff, and then what didn't go right, what went wrong over the weekend, because it certainly wasn't a perfect weekend either. All 3 games, a 1-run victory. There's some good in that and some not so good in that. So we'll break down all of that as well, and then some other news and notes at the end of the show as well for the Detroit Tigers 3-0 weekend. I just can't stop saying it. How can you, right? Fun stuff. Like I said, first time they're 3-0 since 2016, all 1-run games in a 3-0 start for the first time in team history, which is a crazy stat that Bally pulled out at the end of the game. I want to start off what went right. I think the broadcast, really easy place to start. I think Benetti is an absolute star. I think that Simo with Benetti has been really solid. I'm excited to get some of the other names and faces that they've added to the booth this year in the mix as well. But first weekend, I think everybody involved has that. Johnny Kane's been there for a while, but really good as well. I can't say enough good things about the broadcast. I think it went absolutely swimmingly, and it was a stellar job by everybody involved. So 2 thumbs up, only put 1 thumb up, 2 thumbs up from me in terms of that. Let's talk about on the field. The bullpen was absolutely fantastic. The Andrew Chafin solo home run was the only run that the bullpen has given up so far on the season, which obviously is a super dramatic way of saying in this series, but it is technically on the season, so I'm going to say it because it sounds a lot cooler and better. Tyler Holton, phenomenal, especially on Sunday. Fastball command, absolutely beautiful, right? Was dotting corners, especially to lefties. We know he's a lefty specialist. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Jason Foley on Sunday. You saw kind of best of both worlds from Jason Foley. You saw the ground ball, right? You saw the weak contact that he's able to induce, and you also saw some swing and miss stuff from a sinker that moves 100 miles an hour. So you saw a lot of the reasons. And again, I backpedaled and kind of retreated my spring training player preview, series that we did with all the players. I had said in the Foley one, he just doesn't give enough swings and misses or strikeouts for me to just hand the keys over to be in the closer role. We're 2 outings in. I'm not trying to overreact and go too far the other way in the pendulum, but he has been absolutely phenomenal, and he's getting swings and misses. And I think he has the ability to get strikeouts. You showed that on opening day. I don't think there's any question. We'll talk about Alex Lange later, especially with how his performance went. I don't think there's a single question. Jason Foley is your, if you don't want to use the word closer because you're AJ Hinch, your highest leverage reliever. Okay. I think there's really no doubt about it. But yeah, Chafin was the home run, but then outside of that homer all weekend, good. He pitched on Friday, I guess not Saturday, but solid. Will Vest on Saturday, absolute dog. And that's like, it's so funny. You know, we talk every year going into the season. We talk about, Will Vest, is he going to make the team? He struggled in spring training, like, et cetera, et cetera. And every single year, then in the regular season, when it comes around, he's fine and he's really good. And last year he had a sub-3 ERA. And it just, maybe he's just a regular season pitcher. Maybe the dude just doesn't care about spring training. Maybe it's all just experimental for him in spring, trying different stuff. I don't know, but he was absolutely phenomenal in that game on Saturday. And then Shelby Miller, one of the stars of the show on Saturday as well. 2 innings pitched, including, I mean, the 2 highest of high leverage innings, really. You have the 9th inning, then you go into extra innings and you get the 10th inning, and he stayed out there. They didn't bring in a new pitcher or anything. They just left Shelby Miller out there, and he got the job done, didn't allow a run, and the Tigers get an extra inning victory on Saturday. The fastball, I thought, got better as he pitched. I thought that when he first came out that he was catching a little bit too much of the plate, and the velo wasn't really where he probably wanted it to be. And then his last 2 or 3 fastballs specifically that he threw in the outing, velocity jumped way up. I think he ended at 94, 95 miles an hour to end the game. Phenomenal stuff. Okay, phenomenal. Defense this weekend. There was a lot of really solid defense. Wasn't a perfect defensive performance. There was a Colt Keith play where he probably should have, on the double play on Sunday, he probably should have gotten the ball out a little bit quicker. Still was a double play, so no harm, no foul, I guess. But it wasn't a perfect weekend, but there was a lot of really good things to look at. Parker Meadows is absolutely phenomenal out there. There was the whole, I don't know if robbery, was it a home run? I'm not sure. Maybe he just makes everything look so easy that I'm not even giving him enough credit, and it absolutely was a robbery. He is absolutely phenomenal. He is graceful. That is genuinely the word I want to use. It is like watching, I know that like Matt Shepard used this analogy last year, but like it is literally like watching a gazelle. Like he is so graceful while he is running, which is not something I really expected to use to describe outfield defense in the game of baseball, but it is just beautiful to watch him patrol center field wearing an Old English D. Gio Urshela, really, really solid play on Sunday, moving to his right. It would have been heading out of play into foul territory, goes across his body, gets a runner at first. Phenomenal stuff. And then Zach McKinstry and Spencer Torkelson combine for the play of the weekend, probably defensively at least. Zach McKinstry, crazy hop, catches him in the gut, runs over, tags third, throws the ball to first, low throw. Spencer Torkelson with a phenomenal scoop. We talk all the time about Torkelson and how much he struggles massively defensively just on like balls in play that are hit to him, but he is absolutely phenomenal at scooping the baseball, and that is absolutely worth a boatload, and it really paid off in that situation. Everybody fired up. Will Vest fired up. Spencer Torkelson fist bump fired up. Zach McKinstry, like everybody literally fired up. Jason Benetti with the shout out to CMU on there. Just a few really, really, really good defensive plays. And when you look at, third base last year, Nick Maton, one of the worst defenders analytically in all of baseball. Riley Green, going to be a really like a solid corner outfielder. Certainly not Parker Meadows out there in center. Zach McKinstry, we talk about how good of a defender he is all the time. Like there are changes happening, and you saw it on the defensive side of the ball and in the bullpen especially as well. We got a few more good things to talk about, not just a few more, a lot. There's a lot more good than bad this weekend which is a great sign. So we'll keep the ball rolling and talk about all of that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at FanDuel. The sports calendar is loaded in March and April, and FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in on the action because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 that you can use your money to bet on the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Also going to talk to y'all about our friends over at LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close deals? Business-to-business selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. So right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon to get started. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow talking about the game 1 of the New York Mets series. We'll preview that a little bit if we have time at the end. Also, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day, bringing you the biggest stories without all the screaming that maybe Fox or ESPN gives you all day. So you can go to YouTube, subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming sports channel, Locked On Sports Today, or look it up on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. So your Detroit Tigers still 3-0 and still feels really good to say. Let's talk about Jack Flaherty a little bit. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Fastball averaged about 93.5, but it topped out just under 96. I want to say it was 95.7, which is a pretty solid number. There's a few specific moments where he really reared back and had an uptick in velo when he felt like he needed it. There was one inning, I want to say it was the second or the third inning, specifically, where his last he had 2 strikeouts in the inning, both the last 2 batters he faced. The third strike on both of them was a fastball up that got a little bit higher than the average was sitting, and that both swinging strikes as well, which was good to see. So the slider really was the name of the game in this one. It was absolutely excellent. 40% CSW percentage, one of our stats here that we like to go over. So that's called strikes plus whiffs percentage. So essentially, of every single slider that he threw, 40% of them were either called strikes or swinging missed strikes. So just excluding foul balls, basically. Good movement with the shape. Good movement and the shape, rather. Both really, really solid. Definitely got some help from some umpiring. Not going to deny that whatsoever. Jake Rogers is a really, really, really good catcher, though, and a phenomenal receiver. And I think that he didn't get enough credit in that. The umpire, I'm not trying to convince you the umpire was having a great day at the office. Certainly not. I think the ump scorecard is probably going to be decently in the Detroit Tigers' favor when it comes out tomorrow. But Jake Rogers did receive a phenomenal baseball game and is a really, really, really good receiver. So the fastball, like I said, got some decent swings and misses. But overall, I thought it was actually pretty poor command, especially early in the game. I thought kind of as the outing went along, there were some situations where he hit his spot. Again, one of those strikeouts specifically was a heater up and away on the black. That was a really good executed pitch. But I think that they realized pretty early on that he didn't have too much command of the fastball. Whether early season just going to be an issue, not sure yet. It's one outing, but the slider made up for it. Absolutely phenomenal. Even the home run he gave up, that was a 92 down the middle pitch. And it's no wonder that it got deposited into the left field seats. But like I said, the secondary pitches played really, really well. That slider is the best I have seen from him. I'm not trying to claim that I've seen every Jack Flaherty start over the last 3 years, but that is certainly some of the best that I've seen his slider look in recent memory for sure. So not a perfect outing. Again, really needs to work on the fastball command, especially earlier in the game. Left the ball over the heart of the plate way too often. Like it's the White Sox. I'm sure that helped a little bit. A really good offense. Probably he doesn't get out there as unscathed as he did. But at the end of the day, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 7 Ks is a really good first outing for one of the newer members of the Detroit Tigers. So good for him. Catching, like I said, definitely a big plus. Carson Kelly on Saturday, 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Jake Rogers on Sunday. Obviously, we already talked about the defense and the home run. Both of them phenomenal. And Hinch even alluded to, this was a quote that made the rounds with all of our beat writers, rather, just before the season started. Hinch alluded to both of these guys being in the lineup at times, DHing one and putting obviously one behind the plate. After this weekend, it makes sense. I'm not really thinking that that's what we should expect on a game-to-game basis. I'm not sure that should be the plan going into, and obviously on Sunday that wasn't the case. They didn't both start, but if Carson Kelly can return to even somewhat close to peak offensive form that he was providing back in, 2018 or 19, I want to say, in Arizona, then yeah, that is going to make sense sometimes. So keep an eye on that, but a really good catching weekend for your Tigers. Kerry Carpenter crushed the ball this weekend. Home run, really, really solid at bat in that homer. Was a full count. Fetty just hung a sweeper, slider, whatever it was. It didn't move too much. And Kerry Carpenter hits remember, he didn't homer the last 6 weeks of the 2023 seasons. This is his first home run since August 23rd, August 24th, something around there. So it's been a minute. And so it's good to see him hit that homer. And again, he just looked really comfortable in the plate really all weekend, which was great. A lot of hits outside of that home run as well. Just a phenomenal weekend. Mark Canha, huge Saturday. The first Tigers home run of the season. He had a really solid Sunday as well. And yeah, that is just such professional at bats. He's not going to explode and, go 3 for 5 every game. Obviously, he shouldn't be, just so we're clear, the best hitter on this team. If he is, then this is not going to be a very great offense, but he gives you such professional at bats. I think in that, 5 to 6 range in the lineup, just really is a tough AB. And I absolutely loved what I saw from him at the plate. Again, faced velocity this weekend, did a lot better than he did on opening day as well, I thought. AJ Hinch, phenomenal weekend. A lot of one-run victories, easy to point to manager in those situations. Andy Ibanez, obviously the greatest hitter of all time when a lefty is on the mound. Obviously exaggerating, but really smart decision there. Zach McKinstry, the batter before that, draws a walk. Good to see him, A, get a walk, B, good decision by Hinch. Vierling pinch running, just the bullpen management all weekend. AJ Hinch, masterclass of a weekend against the Chicago White Sox. We had a few on the opposite end, kind of rather interesting and probably not great managerial decisions. So we just very clearly, the Tigers had the advantage in the dugout really all weekend, and that was made pretty clear in pretty much every game. The bench also came out and played and looked really, really solid. We already talked about Andy Ibanez. Just so awesome. His quotes after the game Evan Petzold had an article about it, I know, but I'm sure that all the beat writers have done something on it. Andy Ibanez just after the game goes, I know my role. And I was ready for that moment from the very start of the game. Like he knew, if a lefty comes in, I'm going to get the call and I need to get a hit here. And it's just so awesome. Andy Ibanez rocks. He is absolutely incredible. And yeah, he is a weapon, a legitimate weapon against lefties on this team. So really good to see. Obviously, we talked about Zach McKinstry, his defense, the walk he drew, etc. Really good weekend for the bench. Riley Green, home run, highlight of his weekend. Still not an awesome weekend outside of that, but really his homers are impressive. That ball was in on the hands and he went slightly other way 400 feet or whatnot. Just that is when it clicks, he's going to be really good. And that was really nice to see him. Gio Urshela on Sunday in general, I guess maybe bench. I don't know what you want to call that, etc. But kind of part of that grouping. Defense, 2 hits. Really good at bats. Really, really, really good at bats. Great to see. Not going to give you a ton of power this year, clearly, but good to see regardless. And lastly, I want to just talk about the team approach on Saturday. Not as much on Sunday, but on Saturday, the team approach was phenomenal. 4 walks and 3 strikeouts. That is the definition of strike zone domination. That is what your whole premise has been built around. And on Saturday, it came to fruition. More walks than strikeouts in an extra innings ball game from the team is phenomenal to see. All right, let's talk about the things that maybe didn't go right. We need to see improvement on what went wrong. We'll talk about all of that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing television and provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's the opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created the Fire TV Channels app as well to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from all your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On, first and foremost, and most of the big pro leagues as well. College conferences, too. They got it all. Fire TV Channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on the latest from the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and so much more, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos as well. So check out Fire TV Channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV Channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. What is up, everybody? Third and final segment here, Locked On Tigers. So we're talking about all episode. We've been talking about what went right this weekend, which was an awful lot. Also, just the fact that they came back from 2 of these games, I think, is obviously a great sign. Let's talk about the things that need to improvement. What went wrong over the weekend? Sunday's approach was not nearly as fun as Saturday's approach. 13 strikeouts, 4 walks. Not a bad day at the office in that department, but still 13 strikeouts. Obviously, the more walks than strikeouts is not repeatable every single game, but they had a lot more swings and misses, and the offense just was a little bit more stagnant on Sunday as a whole. But again, walked out of there with a win. Not going to complain too terribly much. Kenta Maeda, unfortunately, in his Tigers debut, finds himself on this side of the conversation. 3 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. The velo, I don't like. He doesn't throw very hard. A lot of people were talking a lot about, oh my, look, he's only throwing 89 or 90 miles an hour. Yeah, that's kind of to be expected. We might get a 1 or 2 miles an hour more at some point, but that's about where he's going to sit. The thing was, the command of the secondary was non-existent. That was the issue with this, and nothing to do with command. He's never thrown hard. This had very much to do with the fact that every splitter he threw, every breaking ball, not every, that's too dramatic, but a lot of pitches that he threw were right over the heart of the plate. Multiple splitters just hung right down the middle. A lot of fastballs. And again, he doesn't have the velocity to really make up for having bad command if he is not hitting his spots. So yeah, just really not only inefficient, which I don't really expect him to ever be too efficient of a pitcher. He usually uses a lot of pitches to get through the lineup. But yeah, certainly 6 earned runs is not the way he wanted to start off his Tigers tenure and this season. And it's not the way we wanted either. Again, Tigers, a lot of credit. Bullpen is nails, and the offense can claw their way back in it. So, yeah, rough start for him. Again, really just all of the secondary stuff was just catching way too much of the plate or bouncing, and there was no in between, no ability to get chases really on a consistent basis for him, unfortunately. Alex Lange also, unfortunately, finds his way onto this side of the conversation as well. 1/3 of an inning pitched, 0 hits, no runs, but 3 walks and 1 strikeout. And the strikeout he had, none of those pitches were really in the strike zone either. Just has such nasty stuff that he got some chase on it. Clearly, Jason Foley is the closer. I had said after opening day that I thought there was a chance that they were going to give both of them some leverage opportunities early to kind of see if Alex Lange had, quote unquote, fixed his command struggles that he had last year. That's out the window. I think Jason Foley is pretty clearly the closer, the highest leverage reliever on this baseball team. Alex Lange immediately walks the 9-hitter, walks the 1-hitter, then gets a strikeout and then another walk, and then gets out. Will Vest obviously then comes in, they get the double play, etc. So shout out to Will Vest for coming in relief, getting out of that situation. But Alex Lange needs to nip this in the butt early. This cannot be something that just drags on, or else, I mean, he pitched in the 7th of this game. He's going to get lower and lower leverage stuff until he can consistently find the strike zone. And it's such a crime because he has such disgusting stuff when it's even near the zone. So gonna have to keep an eye on that. We'll see how he adjusts as the season goes along. The umpire on Sunday, I think, is pretty fair to say something that went wrong. Again, it benefited the Tigers quite a bit. Jake Rogers caught a heck of a game, as we've talked about plenty already. But not the greatest day at the office for him. That umpire scorecard is going to be interesting to watch. Joey Cora sending Mark Canha. Something that went wrong this weekend on that play. I saw some people say the same thing that I had said, where it was like, I might have just done it because Javi was on deck, and that's just kind of what you got to do. I know Jed said something like that. Look, it was not a good send. That ball, there was in no reality. Like, yes, it was a good relay and a good throw, but it could have been wildly offline, and that still would not have been really much of a close play. I don't think Mark Canha meant to run into him either. I think that was nothing. I take his word on it, but yeah, that certainly was not a good send. And for a team that last year we got frustrated pretty consistently with the aggressiveness of the third base coaching, Joey Cora is the definition of aggressive. He did it all spring. So we'll see. I don't know if that's just an early in the season thing or you're playing a weak opponent thing. If they have scouting report team to team, I don't know, but that was way too aggressive and shouldn't happen. And we can't be losing base runners, ending innings, especially. We can't be losing base runners like that, especially at the plate. So we'll see. I know Hinch's philosophy in general is just more aggressive base running. And that's something that we all need to remember, that, he wants to apply pressure to the defense. So we're going to have that at times. We're going to get thrown out at times. We're probably going to get thrown out at the plate to lose a ball game at some point this year, maybe even multiple times. But that was egregious, right? There's aggressive, and then there's just what on earth were you thinking? And I think that play falls much more under what on earth were you thinking. So we'll keep an eye on that, though, see how Cora does coaching third. Key hitters, rather, on Sunday, not great. Your top of the lineup, Parker Meadows, Torkelson. Obviously, Carpenter had a good game, but then Riley Green, those three, Meadows, Torkelson, and Green, all go 0 for. Torkelson had one walk, and then Andy Ibanez obviously pinch hit for Parker Meadows. But the three of those had 0 hits combined between them. That's 3 of your top 4 hitters. You're not going to win too many games that way, but thankfully the Tigers, again, the lineup was hopefully extended this winter, and they were still able to overcome that. Other news and notes, I think I kind of want to call this category just stuff, just like other stuff that I want to talk about. Eric Fetty, I made a mistake on Friday's show. I think I said he was hurt all season. Obviously went to the KBO and won pitcher of the year over there, had a phenomenal season, signed a 2-year deal with the White Sox this winter in kind of a redemption, kind of comeback tour, if you will. So hopefully, I root for guys that do that, and I'm hoping that he can do well. I thought his splitter, changeup, whatever you want to call it, was pretty solid. I didn't think the stuff was that bad. He clearly wanted to stay in the game when he got pulled as well. So we'll see how he does this season. Weather, it was cold. It's harder. You try and grip a baseball and get, 3,000 RPMs, 2,500 RPMs of spin on a baseball when, it's 40 degrees. It's tough. I'm not blaming, again, I threw a temper tantrum about people that complained about the weather. That was probably 2 years ago now. I'm not going to be the one to be like, oh, it's weather, like we need to not like it's an excuse to lose games or whatnot. No, you got to figure it out. You can't be awful in April every year. Plenty of cold weather teams do it. But something to keep an eye on for sure. I'm very interested in just comparing these starts, especially early in the year, to starts a month from now, or starts when we go to, like Texas or something, Florida. I don't know, pick a warm climate. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. I'm hoping that maybe that can help with some of the stuff we saw from Maeda and Flaherty. But at the end of the day, Flaherty said it himself after the game. He's like, we've all dealt with it. It's part of the game. You got to figure it out. And so I give him a lot of credit for that, and I agree with that. But just something that, certainly part of the weekend as well. All the one-run games. I think my confidence has gone up in the team's ability to navigate a one-run game. Again, it's the White Sox. I'm aware. Don't want to read a bunch of stuff about how it's only the White Sox. I understand. But I think this bullpen could be really good, and AJ Hinch is a really good manager, and I think those two combine for success in close ball games. And you kind of did it all this weekend. Oh, they were all close, but you had a 1-0 ball game. You had a higher scoring, like 7-6 ball game where you had to come back, and then a 3-2 game where you had to grind out a win and come back. And I think that wide range of victories, even in only a 3-game sample, is something to hang your hat on as well. Leadoff hitter Parker, one good game, one bad game at the plate, at least, was good defensively all weekend. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. You want your leadoff hitter to be fast, draw walks, get on base, etc. Parker Meadows, in a perfect world, is the perfect leadoff hitter. So we'll keep an eye on him. That would be really cool if he could kind of blossom into that role. Shoemake for the White Sox. This guy's a dog. All right. I don't even know what his final stats were on the weekend. It might have even not been that good. I don't really recall his specific ABs there on Sunday's game, but I thought he was, obviously his first hit was a home run, right? First major league hit. Like he looked solid. He impressed me. So good on him. The pizza celebration. For those who are not aware, the Detroit Tigers got rid of, Torkelson says it's not permanently gone, mind you, but they did get rid of the Red Wings home run celly, and now we have the Pizza Hut celebration. It's been reported that it is not from upstairs that they do that. That Torkelson was the brainchild, and said his quote was basically something, slightly paraphrasing. It's like, our owner owns Little Caesars too, and it's good pizza. So initially I was like, this is kind of, I don't really like this. But honestly, on Sunday, I was a lot more about it. I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. And I don't know. I think that there's a place for that. So I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me a little bit more. I'm not really sure. It's funny regardless. And I'm going to tweet like a pizza gif every time the Tigers hit a home run, probably. So we got that going for us. Mets preview. The Mets started off the season 0-3 against the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of brouhaha happening in that ball game. Rhys Hoskins, all of that drama, him and McNeil going at it. Rhys Hoskins giving him the crying, he said wah, wah to his face. You can go look at all that stuff. The Mets had a very interesting weekend, but lost all 3 games to the Milwaukee Brewers. We will get Mize, Olsen, and then Tarek Skubal on game 3. I said that in the wrong order. I think it's Olsen, Mize, and then Skubal on the series finale on Wednesday. The Mets are going with Sean Manaea on game 1, Adrian Hauser in game 2, and then Jose Quintana in game 3. So yeah, I don't think you're outmatched here pitching wise at all, actually. We'll see. Reese Olson's first start, obviously Mize's first regular season game in 2 years. Like, we'll take it with a grain of salt, obviously, but I don't look at that pitching lineup for both teams and go, wow, the Tigers are really outmatched here. So we will certainly, I think that these are games that you can go in there and bring home some wins. We'll put it that way. I think that's very doable. I think that's very doable. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow, and we're going to end the show here on a sadder note. Just wanted to say rest in peace to John Kloss, who tragically passed away over the weekend. John did a lot of work for Motor City Metrics, for Woodward Sports. I had the pleasure of working directly with John at the Detroit News this past year as well. And the fan base felt that loss. He impacted and touched a lot of people, and just a really, really sad weekend. So offering thoughts and prayers, thinking about praying for his family and his loved ones and anybody who is feeling the loss of John. This season is not going to be quite the same with John not present for it. So, miss you, bud, and rest in peace, John Kloss.